The secret beneath the roof. In every home, there are stories the walls keep to themselves. Some stories are beautiful. Others are dark, hiding in corners, waiting for the right moment to emerge. This is the story of Daniel, Claire, Mara, and the life-changing secret that would shake their world forever. Rosewood Heights was the kind of neighborhood people admired. The houses were neat, gardens trimmed, the streets quiet except for children's laughter in the evening. Among these homes stood one that seemed perfect, the home of Daniel and Claire. Daniel, a respected architect, carried himself with calm confidence. Claire, a devoted schoolteacher, radiated warmth wherever she went. Together, they had a little boy, Ethan, who filled their home with laughter. Neighbors often commented, "They have the perfect life," but appearances can be deceiving. Inside the house, Daniel's morning started early. He would sip his coffee quietly, reviewing blueprints for work, while Ethan ran circles around the living room. Claire left early for school, hugging Ethan and whispering, "Be good for Daddy." And as she left, she never noticed a small, quiet glance Daniel gave the empty living room, a glance that carried thoughts he would never speak aloud. Claire had been feeling exhausted lately. Between teaching and caring for Ethan, she needed help at home. That's when Mara came into their lives. Mara was 22, polite, diligent, and full of dreams. She came from a humble background, supporting a sick mother and a younger brother. This job meant security, even if it wasn't glamorous. At first, she fit seamlessly into the household. She cooked, cleaned, played with Ethan, and earned Claire's trust. Claire even said to a friend, "She's like a little sister now. I can rely on her completely." But Daniel noticed things, small, seemingly innocent things. The way Mara laughed when Ethan stumbled over his words. The way she hesitated, watching him from across the room, almost too carefully. The way her eyes lingered just a second too long. He told himself it was nothing. He told himself he was imagining things. One weekend, Claire left for a teacher's retreat. She kissed Ethan goodbye, reminded Daniel to take care of the house, and left smiling, trusting him completely. The house felt different that night. Quiet, too quiet. Daniel found Mara cleaning late in the dining room. They began talking, first about work, then about life, then about dreams and struggles. Mara spoke of her mother's illness, her brother, and the hope she carried. Daniel listened more than he should have. One conversation led to another. One look led to a lingering moment. And before the first light of dawn, a line was crossed. One mistake, one night, a decision that would haunt all of them for years. The morning after, Daniel avoided Mara. Mara avoided him. Yet the tension was thick. Words were careful. Actions deliberate. Weeks passed. Mara grew quieter, fearful of what had happened. Daniel buried himself in work, pretending life was normal. Claire noticed subtle changes. He seemed distant. Mara seemed anxious. Ethan asked questions Daniel couldn't answer. Neighbors began whispering. Too. Mrs. Benson, from across the street, commented to Claire, "She seems a little sad, doesn't she? The girl you hired." Claire waved it off, trusting Daniel. But deep inside, a seed of doubt began to grow. One morning, Mara fainted while cleaning. Claire rushed her to the clinic. The doctor's words were quiet but shocking. Mara was pregnant. Claire held Mara's hands. "Who is the father?" she asked, softly. Mara's lips quivered, but no words came out. Fear had silenced her. Later, when Claire told Daniel, panic washed over him. He pretended outrage, pretending to be shocked. Dramatic emphasis. But the truth was his burden alone. That night, Daniel made a choice. He could have confessed, faced the consequences, and healed the wound. But fear and pride whispered louder than his conscience. He began to spin a lie. Mara had changed, had become rude and secretive. He suggested to Claire that they should dismiss her. And slowly, Claire began to believe him. The once warm relationship between Claire and Mara began to fade. Claire watched Mara closely, interpreting her nervousness as insolence. Mara felt cornered and alone. Even little Ethan noticed the change. "Why is Mara sad?" he asked one afternoon, tugging at Claire's sleeve. Claire whispered, Sometimes adults have complicated feelings, honey. Don't worry about it. But Mara's heart ached. She was carrying a child, Daniel's child, in secret. And now, she had no support, no comfort, no protection. One evening, Daniel approached her. His tone was sharp. "You'll leave soon. Take the money. Don't ruin my life." Mara's tears fell freely. "You ruined your own life," she whispered. Claire, trusting Daniel's words, told Mara she had to leave. Mara packed silently. No confrontation. No accusations. Just a suitcase and a broken heart. As she walked away, she looked back at the house. Her home, her shelter, her prison, one last time. Weeks passed. Months passed. Life in the house seemed normal again. But secrets don't vanish. They wait. One Sunday morning, Claire ran into a nurse. Casual words caused a storm inside her. Mara gave birth, and the baby resembles Daniel. Claire laughed nervously, but inside her heart pounded. Every odd behavior, every sudden decision to sack Mara, every lie, it all started to make sense. That night, she could not sleep. By morning, Claire faced Daniel with calm eyes. "Were you involved with Mara?" Daniel froze. His spoon dropped. His heart raced. The secret he buried for months rose like a tidal wave, ready to drown them all. And that is where we leave them. Daniel, trapped in guilt. Claire, standing on the edge of truth. Mara, far away, carrying a secret that would change all their lives. After Mara left, Daniel tried to return to normal. He went to work, spoke to Claire politely, and played the part of the devoted husband. But every corner of the house reminded him of what he had done. Every laugh of Ethan, every glance from Claire, every empty room felt like judgment. Late at night, Daniel would sit alone with a glass of whiskey in hand, staring at the walls. "How did I let this happen?" he whispered to himself. "One night, one terrible night, and I've ruined everything." He tried to convince himself that hiding the truth was the right choice, that keeping the secret would protect the family. But deep inside, guilt gnawed at him, relentless and merciless. Far away, Mara struggled to rebuild her life. She found a small apartment, clean houses, and worked tirelessly to provide for herself and the baby she named Hope. Hope became her reason to survive, her light in the darkness. Mara often thought about Daniel, about how he destroyed everything, yet still remained part of her life through this child. Some nights, she cried. Other nights, she whispered to Hope, "You are my strength. You are my future." Back home, Daniel tried to regain normalcy. He smiled at Claire. He played with Ethan. He even pretended that Mara's pregnancy and departure were nothing more than unfortunate events. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not escape the truth. He would find himself staring at Mara's empty room, imagining the life she and the child could have had if he had been honest. The guilt became unbearable, growing heavier with each passing day. Rumors began to circulate. Neighbors noticed Mara's sudden disappearance. Mrs. Benson, the neighbor, whispered to Claire. She looked so happy when she started. Strange how she just left. Claire felt a chill in her heart. Questions she had ignored for months suddenly rushed back. Her suspicions, once faint, grew louder. Even Ethan noticed. "Mommy, why did Mara leave?" he asked one evening, tugging at her sleeve. Claire forced a smile. "Sometimes, honey, people move on for reasons we don't understand." But in her heart, she knew the story was far from simple. Weeks turned into months. Daniel's guilt festered. He could not enjoy meals, play with Ethan fully, or even sleep. Every corner reminded him of Mara, of the child, of the mistake he could never undo. One night, he wrote letters, apologies he never sent, confessions he could not speak aloud. "I wish I could take it back," he wrote. "I wish I could tell the truth without losing everything." But the truth, he realized, would cost him his family, his reputation, and possibly Claire's trust forever. Meanwhile, Mara worked day and night to raise Hope. She scrubbed floors, washed clothes, and cooked for families she barely knew. Some days, she felt crushed by exhaustion. Yet, whenever she saw Hope smile or heard his small laugh, she felt hope herself, a reminder that even amidst betrayal and loss, life can continue. She often wondered about Daniel, about what kind of father he would have been. She tried not to hate him. Not yet. She had a child to raise, a future to build. Back in Rosewood Heights, Claire could no longer ignore the signs. The nurse's comment, the lingering look Daniel gave Mara's empty room, the rumors she overheard from neighbors. It all pointed to one terrible truth. One quiet evening, while Daniel was at work, Claire sat alone in the living room. She held Ethan on her lap, staring at the walls, piecing the story together. Her heart ached, anger mixed with sadness, betrayal mixed with love. When Daniel returned, she was waiting, calm, composed, but her eyes burned with quiet fury. "Daniel," Claire said, her voice steady, "I know what happened." He froze. Every excuse, every lie, every whispered denial in his mind evaporated. Claire continued, softly but firmly, "I know about Mara. I know she's carrying your child. I know you try to hide it. And I know you hurt everyone in this house." Daniel wanted to speak, wanted to beg, to explain, to justify, but no words could undo the damage. "I was weak," he admitted finally, his voice breaking. "I made a terrible mistake, and I am so sorry." Claire's silence was louder than any words. Daniel left the room, carrying guilt like a shadow. He wandered the streets at night, wondering if redemption was even possible. Claire, though heartbroken, began the slow process of rebuilding her life. She focused on Ethan, on her career, and on healing. Forgiveness was not on the table yet. Understanding and boundaries were. Mara, miles away, continued her struggle and her triumph. Raising hope was exhausting, but it was also her liberation. She learned that strength comes from perseverance, not from revenge. Years passed. Daniel and Claire met again, older, wiser, scarred but alive. Their relationship was no longer marital. It was a meeting of two people who had walked through fire and survived. Daniel admitted, "I lost everything hiding one mistake." Claire replied, "Secrets do not stay buried, Daniel. They grow until they destroy everything beneath the roof." Mara's son, Hope, ran through a sunlit park, laughing. Mara watched him, proud, knowing that life can create beauty even from the ashes of betrayal. No secret remains hidden forever. Lies may protect your image for a moment, but truth protects your soul for a lifetime. Even one night of weakness can destroy years of trust. And honesty, no matter how painful, is the foundation that keeps love standing. Every family has a story behind closed doors. Some teach us how to love. Others teach us how to survive. And sometimes the most important lessons come from the secrets we wish had never existed.